Welcome everyone back to Monsters Den. Today we're going to be talking about the very first volume of Berserk, and with me today
Hello.
is no one more qualified than a Crusader himself. It is Kai, the Crusader.
Hello, everyone. Long time no see.
I got him
We're
out of the barracks. He's been he's been playing Elden
been
Ring.
been playing Elden Ring, reading Berserk, been having a good time. Well, I mean, kind of a good time. Working a lot, but
As
that's everyone nowadays.
as good time as you can have. So today we're just gonna simply go over. I have the deluxe edition of Berserk, and that's the kind of book. That's the exact book we're going to be covering. Which, in the classical sense, it's going to be volume 1 through 3 of the original Berserk manga.
And I have the original I guess you could call them the originals. The regular volumes, Tokobon volumes.
Yes. So if we miss
And
something, one of us will. If the deluxe volume maybe misses something, I guess that can be covered by Kai here. But yeah, let's.
hell yeah,
How about
because
we
I know
just?
we had a little bit of that uh in a discussion the other day where you thought that they were missing the chapter and it turned out they weren't. You just didn't read past that page.
Yeah, there was a little bit of confusion because I thought one of the chapters started with the Golden Age, but it was just a brief 2 page flashback that tricked me.
Yeah,
So that was a bit amusing, but it all worked out, thankfully.
it did.
And we're going to try to avoid massive spoilers beyond. First of all, I can't really spoil much because this is my first time reading Berserk. And for
And
Kai, is this your second time?
yes, so I have read Berserk before. Granted, this was years ago, but I have also seen all the anime.
Okay.
So I know quite a lot about Berserk. It's just this is more like a refresher for me, but there are things that I do know, or I'm gonna try and hold my tongue and not spoil it. That's hard for me to do because I really like Berserk, but I'm going to try.
I'll fix it in post, worst case scenario.
Yep.
And there might be
Griffith
some
caused everything.
there might be some points where a few things beyond just the Berserk's kind of I don't know what you call it, like its bubble. There's a couple things I might mention, like obviously I know of the character Casca, and if you
Mhm.
play any video game set in medieval times, I'm sure there's a
There's
reference to
usually
Casca or
character.
something like
Yeah.
that. You know,
There's
there's a few
usually
things.
a reference to those three at any or in a lot of games. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, the obvious ones are like, of course, from software games, the Dark Souls, Demon Souls, Bloodborne, Elden Ring. Like, those are just straight up Dark Souls, or not Dark, straight up Berserk games, just in a different world.
Oh yeah,
And then I don't know if you ever got a chance to play it, but there's Dragon's Dogma, where in that game you just
dude.
get Griffiths and Guts' armor. Like,
The
you just straight up get their shit.
the first
And then
female
there's that
character
one
you see in
NPC
the
who's
camp is
just
just
that's
Casca.
Costco with like that's just Costco with a French accent. Like,
It's so
that's it.
funny.
Yeah, they just straight up like, yep, here's our reference. Have fun.
But beyond that, again, we're gonna try to avoid focus. Well, we're just gonna try to focus on volume one. Sorry, volume 1 through 3. So, how about we start with our pre-experience of, I guess, knowing and maybe what got us interested into Berserk. I think Kai, you probably knew about Berserk way before I did. So how about you go
Yeah.
about telling us how you first found out about Berserk and what motivated you to read it?
This is actually really funny because this goes way back when we were like I was still relatively new to anime and whatnot. And at the time, like I was enjoying series like Hellsing, right, from Coda Hirano. I fucking love that series. Still one of my top favorite. Same with Black Lagoon and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And I was looking around on the internet trying to find like, oh, what are some other series similar to that? And people were recommending Berserk. And so I watched the original '90s anime and I was like, this is fucking awesome. And then I went and read the manga online.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
It,
Does the anime start with the Golden Age arc, or does it actually cover everything?
It covers a very, very, very small portion of the Black Swordsman arc, but then it jumps into the Golden Age arc pretty quickly.
Okay. That's kind of.
And
what I
then
was
that's
curious.
all it covers. The big ending climax of the 90s anime is the eclipse, which everyone knows what the eclipse is. I don't think we need to censor that. That's like
Yeah.
the eclipse is on the same level of like Darth Vader is Luke Skywalker's dad. Like everyone knows
Yeah.
that.
But yeah, wow, you go really far back with Berserk, more than I thought, honestly.
Yeah.
It sounded like it was your fifth manga or so.
It's up there. It's definitely one of the earlier series that I've read.
That's crazy. So
I know. To be fair, like when I was getting into anime manga, I didn't really get in it through like shonen. I got in it through seinen series like Hellsing, Black Lagoon, Berserk.
wow, you were always a
Which-
man.
I guess I just got interested in stuff at a much younger age than I probably should have. But to be fair, my dad also let my brother and I watch war movies when we were like 6. So, you know,
And now you're reading war books with devils, I guess.
I am.
But yeah, as for my own experience, I'm kind of a recently new manga reader. I've read a few manga here and there in my earlier years, and it's only up until recently after reading One Piece where I've become a little bit more of a manga reader.
Yeah,
And-
you were always more of an anime guy, huh?
Always have been. More specifically, an anime game guy, but now I'm also I'm tackling all three at once at this point. And manga is
Hell yeah.
one of the very new things to me. And of course, one of the main voices you always hear when getting into manga is reading I think the most highly regarded manga that is known as Berserk.
Yes.
And
that is one of the most highly regarded mangas. And it's honestly, it's one of the most highly regarded dark fantasy series in general.
yes.
It is one of those series that even on like things like Book Talk, where they don't really talk about like manga very much, they just talk about like regular novels. They would say like, oh, if you want to get into dark fantasy, read Berserk. Like that, even they recommend Berserk, which is a huge thing, which again, it's one of those series where once you read it and then you look at other dark fantasy series, you see its influence on everything, especially out of stuff from Japan. As like
Yeah.
I mentioned, you got Dark Souls, Demon Souls, Dragon's Dogma, all kinds of games that pulled influence or inspiration from Berserk.
Yeah, it's very similar to like how even if you're a sci-fi book fan, there's no way you're not going to talk about Star Trek or Star Wars, even though those
Exactly.
aren't primarily book series.
Or
It's on
I
that
would even say
level.
even on par with like Tolkien, where like if you're a fantasy fan, most people have heard of Tolkien. If you're a dark fantasy fan, most people have heard of Berserk.
Yes. So as far as my experiences go, I've had a couple of friends back when I was in college talking about how much they love Berserk. And that was kind of the very first big fans that I've met. Kai, of course, was a Berserk fan, but I don't think he really got into being a big Berserk fan until kind of later on, where he started
Yeah.
appreciating it more.
When I really started reading more and more of the manga, because again, like I watched the anime first, and then I remember what ended up happening is that I started playing the Souls games. And for those of you who don't know, Dark Souls is like my all-time favorite video game, like hands down. I love the Souls series, and seeing all the Berserk references made me go back and reread Berserk. And I was like, oh, this is fucking awesome. So I was like reading Berserk and playing the Souls games at the same time.
And there we go.
Yeah.
Maybe my next
Which is-
step will be Dark Souls. Who knows?
I hope so. My fingers are crossed. I mean, before we were doing this call, I was literally playing Elden Ring.
I'm telling you
So-
guys, it was so hard to get him out. But
It was.
but yeah, that was so I decided to finally take my dive, and now I'm reading Berserk, and I plan on reading it up until we plan on doing this series up until Deluxe Volume 5, which should be Volume 15 if I'm not mistaken. And after
Should
that, I'll
be
be
somewhere around
taking
there.
a very massive break from Berserk because
Yeah,
that's when
because-
a certain plot point happens.
Yeah. That basically we're going to try and get through. Basically, we're getting through all the Black Swordsman's arc and through all the Golden Age, and then that's pretty much it. And I think that's a relatively good stopping point for a little bit, and then pick up the next arc after that.
That's exactly it. So
Just because, like, that's, like I've said, the Eclipse is kind of the big climax. That's the one everyone knows, and it's a good stopping point if you want to do a break and go read something a little more lighthearted. Because let's face it, the Eclipse is pretty fucked up, very fucked up.
we'll see what happens. But yeah, how about let's just get into the series. So as far as this format goes, it's going to be pretty casual, just talking about what happens with volumes 1 through 3 of Berserk. I have a couple notes jotted down here, not to follow a format, but just so I bring up the stuff that I wanted to talk about and don't forget it, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So one of my very first impressions of flipping the very first pages of Berserk was this. I expected the violence. What I wasn't expecting is how sexual this series was. It loves showing ass and tits way more than I thought I was expecting.
Oh, so you were just blindsided by the very first page, huh?
I was like, oh wow,
Guts
that's
just being
fucking a
balls deep in a
succubus.
demon.
All right.
Yep, he's just balls deep in a demon right off the bat.
I wasn't expecting the first page to be Guts ass.
Yep. I don't know if you've seen it. I know you're trying to stay away from everything because spoilers, but I do remember that was a bit of a controversial scene for a lot of people who weren't super familiar with Berserk, because they're like, wait a minute, Guts is cheating on Casca. But in my defense for that, or for Mira on this, is that Casca wasn't even a character yet.
Yeah, you see this a lot with a lot of authors who've written long series where they don't have the right grip of what the character should be up until around volume 5.
Exactly, and you very, very much still see it in Berserk.
Yeah,
where the first 3 volumes, you could really tell that Mira didn't really know what he was doing. Like, or he knew what he was doing, he just didn't really have an idea, or he didn't know where he was steering the ship.
Yeah,
because he's like, oh, I want this big, cool, huge dude with a big sword killing demons, and he's going to be really dark and edgy. And so he did that for a few chapters, and he's like, okay, well, I want to do more with these characters. I want to have more of a backstory. Let's start with a flashback, and that flashback just happened to be like 15 volumes long. Because that's ultimately what the Golden Age arc is a flashback.
That's
fucking long.
That's really funny. So yeah, the sexual content, again, it's not something that I'm too sensitive about, but I just found it kind of like amusing and surprising, being like, huh, all right. No one warned me about this. No one talked about this in Berserk.
Oh yeah, no. To be fair, it tones down a lot later on.
I'm expecting it to.
Yeah. There are still scenes, of course. We all know the scenes that end up happening with Casca and whatnot. But there are still other scenes later on, but it's not as like, it's not rampant with it. It's not
totally
like some of those
expecting
series where it's just like having sex for sex sake.
Yeah, I'm totally expecting that.
Like
and
these
even
are
here,
like relatively important things.
And usually here, there's usually a point to the sex besides showing me fucking Puck's ass a bunch for no reason.
Puck? You mean Guts?
Oh no, Puck's ass everywhere for
no
reason.
Oh, I mean, you'll always see his ass. He's a naked elf. That's just kind of his thing.
So that's besides that, all the other sex scenes usually have a point. And this, for the sake of the very first scene, I can tell it's trying to establish an edgy tone. So it is doing its job, to be fair.
Exactly. And like I said, you could very much so tell in the first few chapters that Mira didn't really know what direction he was going. He just had an idea. It was like, here's a big dude with a big sword, and that was that. And it does show because, I don't know if you know this, Berserk almost got canceled at this point.
So, wow, already, huh? You had volume 1.
Because he was originally going through, it wasn't through volume 1, it's at volume 3, because he basically did the Black Swordsman arc, and the publisher that he was going through shut down. And he was like, well, fuck. He's like, well, I could just stop Berserk and go work on something else. Funny enough, he's actually offered a job to go work with I believe it was the guy who did the Fist of the North Star. He was going to go and work with him on a series. Or he could find a new publisher and continue Berserk that way. And he ended up going and finding a new publisher, and that's where the Golden Age starts.
Yeah, what an insane twist. Before I
Hmm.
move on to my next point, I actually want to talk about Mira just a little bit.
Oh
And
yeah, of course.
I read his little like profile they include in the deluxe edition of Berserk, which
Hmm.
it comes with a memorial of him passing away 3 4 years ago now. May his
It,
soul rest.
I
Um,
don't know. Like it does not feel like it's been that long. It feels like it's only been like a year or two.
I know what you mean, but it's pretty insane because I expected him to be either from a major city or like a rural out of nowhere, middle of nowhere kind of area. But
Hmm.
he was born in Chiba City no less. This is like being born in, I don't know, my Massachusetts. It's kind of
Oh yeah,
like a suburb Massachusetts. So it's just like some Asian boy coming in and writing the
just
edgiest fucking shit ever.
just some country kid or whatever.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
nothing special.
suburban kid.
Yeah, it's just some suburban kid. I don't know. I was expecting kind of more wild origins like the Full Metal Alchemist author coming from actual countryside or a bunch of like city ones, but no, he's just some regular suburb kid, which is honestly kind of fitting for Guts himself.
Yeah, pretty much.
But, that's besides the point. Do you want to add anything with Mira? Cuz we can talk about his whole legacy, but I'm not sure if you have something in particular you want to add because that's all I really wanted to say about Mira.
Not without going on a really long tangent, because Mira himself could like deserves his own episode because there is so much that I could talk about with that guy.
I think I'd love to talk about him at the end of our fifth
At the end of
episode.
this little journey, yeah.
Yeah, I think that'd be great time to talk about him. So I'd like to talk about my next bullet point, and that's Black Swordsman, more like Black Archer, because okay,
Oh, his crossbow arm that he
dude,
uses like so much.
what the fuck? I was not ready for him just to be shooting arrows into people like it's fucking 1942.
Mm-hmm. Yep, he's got a little machine gun crossbow arm. He's got a cannon arm. He's got his sword, his throwing knives. Like he uses every weapon in the book he can get his hands on.
I guess when you're sold on the title Black Swordsman for so long, I'm like, okay, he's gonna be doing slashing. No, he just dumps arrows into people for
Yep.
most of the pages,
It
which
was
I think it's
cheap and
funny.
easy. It's just like he throws arrows in them, and that's that. And it's only when they get close as he pull out his sword, and then people shoot a brick. He's like, "Fuck, we can't stop that sword."
I just think it's really amusing. No one talks about his real dark horse, which is the crossbow,
Yep.
and he has an explosive in his arm somewhere,
He
mechanical
has a
arm.
cannon in his arm.
Right. Which gets a
So
little bit of use here and there. It comes in clutch.
yeah, he uses quite a bit.
Yeah.
It's usually like that's his finisher move. Is like he gets in close, shoves it in the demon's face, and blows her head off.
Yeah. It looks cool, so whatever.
It does. Which, fun fact, that arm is actually a real arm.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, as in like in history, I
Oh, gotcha.
forgot who it was, but there was a king, I believe, or a duke from like the Holy Roman Empire that actually had a like metal mechanical arm that Guts has.
That makes sense. Those guys were experimenting with explosives for so long.
Oh yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. So, let's
And
see.
like the cool thing too is like it also like Guts, the fingers also moved and did things.
Oh,
Like
that's
it wasn't
cool.
as advanced like Guts where you could have like a cannon inside of it, but it was like
Yeah.
it worked. You could use it to hold a sword.
You can probably blow up someone's like face if they're close enough.
Yeah, you like punch someone and like yeah, it's definitely gonna fucking hurt them.
Even if they wear a helmet, it might like do something to them.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm expecting that. So, you were you were talking about how Mira was still a little bit inexperienced in that regard, and I gotta say that inexperience, I feel also bleeds in a little bit into his drawings, because chapter one, and this is actually like a a compliment hidden inside an insult, and that's this is Miura's worst looking chapter, and it looks okay.
Yeah. You can tell, like, he's still relatively young artist at this point.
Yeah.
Like, it's fantastic. And he has done other mangas other than Berserk. Or he worked on smaller projects before Berserk. But nothing ever on, like, a massive scale. But, like, you could definitely tell early on, like, yeah, you know, it's not, like, master level yet. But it's still pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Which is surprising because I've read One Piece and I've seen snippets of the first chapters of Attack on Titan. Those look bad at some points.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing here that looks bad. It just always looks kind of okay, and stiff is really the worst times it can happen. But it's, again, good still.
There's a few times where the characters do look a little stiff and the proportions aren't 100%. I know, and if you pay attention to this, you'll kind of notice it too. And a lot of people point it out, but throughout Berserk, you could tell that Mira didn't really give a fuck about the size of Guts' sword. Because there are times where that thing looks like it's like 4 feet long, and other times where it looks like it's like 15 feet long. Like, it's really funny at times where it's like, huh, that sword changes sides.
I guess Guts' sword was always a grower, huh?
Yep, I guess so.
Yeah, that's my little bulletin point there. Okay, this one is weird because I only heard about it a little bit, but I've heard people don't like Puck. And the note that I jotted down was like, I mostly like Puck.
Puck, a lot of the hate for Puck comes more so later on. Because early on, like, yeah, people weren't too fond of him. And, you know, because he is supposed to be like the comedic relief. But once later on into the series, when God starts meeting other people and whatnot, Puck does get better. But then they kind of shoehorn him back into being a comedic relief character. So people are like, oh, come on. He was growing as a character. Then you just kind of stopped.
Oh, I understand.
So that's usually where a lot of the hate for Puck comes from, is from that.
I guess in the regard of the very first 3 volumes, I really enjoyed him because first of all, he's a massive contrast to Guts. And Guts is the star of the show. He's already a great character, but I think having Puck there it helps contrast Guts' philosophy a lot better. And it also gives us a way of saying this isn't Mira's like circle jerk of a character being like, it kind of nods to the audience saying Guts isn't 100% right.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing to have, sure. That Puck being there kind of acknowledges that.
Mm-hmm. And there are times with Guts where you're like, you are the good guy, right? Where he does some very questionable things. And you're just like, huh. All right, Guts.
So Puck is great in that regard because he's kind of there to be that voice of reason, I suppose, around Guts. Now, he mostly fails, which is fine. But him just being there completely makes the dynamic feel so fresh. If this was just Guts being angry... I wouldn't say
he fails, though.
What's up?
I do think that he kind of puts a few cracks in Guts' like big tough guy persona because, you know, at the end of the Black Swordsman arc, you could clearly see it's starting to weigh on him where it's like, fuck, I am doing horrible shit.
Yeah.
Puck might be right.
I'll get a little bit to that soon. Well, I mean, we can if you want.
Well, it's up to you. I know. Did you want to just go in like order of how we read it?
Yeah, that's how I have
this is like at
down
the
here.
tail end of the Black Swordsman arc, and there's a lot more I want to say about the end of the Black Swordsman arc.
Okay, let's build up to that then.
All right, because I would also like to say a lot of people say that the Black Swordsman arc is the weakest arc of Berserk.
That's a good problem to have, honestly.
Yeah, where your weakest arc is your first arc, and even then, after you've just read it, it is short. And I do agree with them. Black Swordsman is like the weakest arc, but it's still a really fun arc.
It's there to establish a tone.
Yeah, it establishes a tone. It's like, yeah, this is a dark and gritty world. There's demons running amok, doing dumb shit, and here's this dude that's a bloodthirsty killing machine. And sometimes you wonder if he's on your side or not, because there are times where he's just as bloodthirsty and violent as the demons he hunts.
So this is actually another point I can get into a little bit, and there are some points where I did roll my eyes, and it's time to stop whatever's going on. Everyone, Guts is gonna have a very edgy monologue,
Mm-hmm.
and this kind of feels like every time he talks, it sounds like a 14-year-old that's trying to be deep. And again, if Puck wasn't there, I'd roll my eyes being like, dude, really? This writing sucks. But the fact that Puck is there is telling me that this is Guts' characterization. He is a flawed character that is thinking this way at this moment.
Exactly. And again, after the Golden Age arc, you will fully understand why he's thinking that way. So it makes it where he's not being like edge for edge's sake. It's okay. I kind of understand why you say this shit. So you're completely fine to be as jaded as you are after all the bullshit you just went through, buddy.
You'd be surprised, man. I think I already got him at the beginning at the end of the Golden Age arc, but I'll get to that real soon since that does cover a little bit of Volume 3. And, if we're talking a little bit more on Guts, man, this guy this guy tries so hard to aura farm. There's sometimes where he strikes a pose, or, he kills something, but he tries to do it really cool, and it's just like, all right, man. Chill out,
And
man.
a lot of that's just like how Mira draws. So
I know.
I don't know if you've ever noticed, there is no action lines with Guts. It's you see the wind up and then you see the hit, and that's it. You don't see the sword coming down and clashing through people. It's you see him like holding the sword back, screaming, and then the next panel is the sword's already cut through everybody, and you just see the aftermath.
You actually do get one panel where you see the slash happening, and I think this is going to be a theme. That panel
It is.
was a two-page one.
Yes, that is the theme, and you'll notice, and I'm going to point this out. Mira gives each character their own fighting style,
That's good.
which is really interesting when you watch, because with Guts, it's like that, where it's big wind up, big hit, big huge page, really cool, badass. But then you have characters like Casca and Griffith who are a little bit more finesse, more fast, and you actually do see action lines with them, because he's trying to show hey, these guys are fast swordsmen. They're all darting, and then they're using rapiers and they're doing stuff like that. And in a sense, it's his way of portraying they have a different fighting style from Guts, and each individual member has a different way of fighting.
Excellent. I can't wait to get to that.
Oh yeah, it's really cool. I love how he does that.
Yeah. So, do you have anything to talk about the carriage scene? Because, it's I guess a heavy scene, but I felt that it's one of the more forgettable parts in the Black Swordsman arc.
It is, but it's one of those scenes. I actually really like this scene because to most people, yeah, it's a forgettable scene. It's just they pull off, demons or undead attack them, and the people die, and Gus is like, okay, whatever, it just walks away. But to me, it's a really important scene because it shows a weakness that Guts has, which is kids. As much as he likes to be that big tough guy, just whatever, he doesn't want to harm kids. And you see that when he gets off the carriage and he tells them hey, you guys stay on the carriage, I'm going to go fight these things. And the girl gets off and he's like, what the fuck are you doing? And she gets killed. He's like, fuck, all right, that sucks. And then in the middle of the fight, her body gets reanimated and he hesitates to kill her to the point where she actually manages to land a blow on him. And then that's when he finally kills her. But it's that moment hesitation of fuck, I don't want to kill a kid.
I honestly thought it was women, which I'm sure is also another one probably, but I don't know.
Mostly kids. Guts is not harming children. He's that's his line where he's I don't want to hurt kids.
Okay. I'll keep that in mind because that does actually show up pretty soon, honestly.
It does with the literally the next monster that he hunts down. It.
But yeah, I guess we can get into that little mini arc now.
Mhm.
And I want to talk about the very first scene, which I thought was kind of goofy, which was the very first execution. Now I know
Oh,
Gut.
I actually like that scene where he draws uh the brand on the woman's head and throws it back at the guy.
Man, this woman's already dead, and they're playing catch and ball with her fucking head, only for it to get smashed in like a minute later. What the fuck is
Yep.
this? It's so goofy.
Nah, I like that scene because I like the guy looking at it like the brand of sacrifice. Like, oh fuck, it gives him the idea like, oh shit, it is the Black Swordsman. Because at this point, Getz has kind of made a name for himself amongst the apostles, where they're like, there's this dude who wields a really big sword that's hunting all the apostles. Be fucking careful.
I think it's
Because
the
for some
idea
reason
of
he's
toying
able to
around
kill
with the
us.
woman's head.
The what?
I think it's the idea of toying around with the woman's head that got me. An executed head. Because, like, she was still alive the entire time, and if I'm not mistaken, I think beheaded heads only live up until, like, 10 to 20 seconds after they're beheaded.
Something like that.
And I think she looks like she lasted, like, probably 1 or 2 minutes, fully conscious of everything.
Yeah, I don't think so. She looked pretty dead to me.
You think she was dead?
Yeah.
Okay. Other than that, though, like again, it's not a negative for me. I just think it's really funny. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
This is also where you start seeing the Bailet come into play because you finally meet Vargas, and I love the scene between him and Guts where he's like, "You may not know this, but the Count's a demon," and Guts is like, "Yeah, no, I already fucking know this." He's like, "The Count eats human flesh." Yeah, I fucking know.
That's great.
Well, the
I mean,
Count
I don't
made
know
a
anything
deal
as a
with the
reader.
devil. He's like, "Yeah, I fucking like." Guts is straight up like, "Yeah, no, I believe you. I know all this shit. I've seen it."
As a reader, I don't know anything, but man, does that have some illusions later?
Oh yeah, which maybe that's to me. Maybe that's the advantage that I have because, like I said, I watched the anime, so I already know what's happening or what Gus is referencing. Where it's like, oh yeah, the God Hand. I know what Varric saw, or Vargas. I know what Vargas saw, so I fully understand it and I believe his story.
I
I'm
guess
not
there's a
going
lot
to be
to
the
catch here in rereads.
yeah.
There we
I
go.
know. There's that is the benefits of rereads. Is like, oh yeah, no, I understand that reference.
Yeah. So there's another point here that I think was touching a little bit on the execution scene and a little bit on the philosophy of Berserk that goes into God Hand, but I'm not going to talk too broadly about God Hand, but it's this point. It's that I definitely feel like the weight of life in Berserk is very light, where everybody like it doesn't matter if anyone dies or not, and no one really cares in this world. The weight of someone either living or dying is kind of featherless compared to, like, I don't know, a Tolkien series where if a character dies, it's a more heart-wrenching scene, or there's a more negative impact on the characters. Meanwhile, here I feel everyone kind of shrugs off death.
So far, yes, it does happen later on. Most of it is because death does have weight in Berserk. You just don't see it yet.
Yeah.
Because as of right now, all the people who are been killed or are dying are people that Guts doesn't really know. But behind the scenes, their families are all mourning their loss. I mean,
Yeah.
why do I keep forgetting his name? Vargas. He was mourning the loss of his wife and children because the Count
Yes.
had eaten his family in front of him. So he was still in the mourning and wants retribution for that. And even Guts still wants retribution for what happened to him. That's basically his whole revenge arc is why he's doing this. Mm-hmm. But for everyone else around with like how many people die, like, yeah, like that does happen a lot. But it does, later on, it does show like, no, death does matter. Guts does feel bad when people die.
Okay. I don't know if this is the author's intention, but I find myself very detached from every newly introduced character because in my mind, I assume they're just going to die. And I don't know if that's on purpose to look through the lens of what Guts is currently seeing.
I don't think it was on purpose. I think it was accidental, but Mira does fix that. Again, he fixes a lot of things in the Golden Age arc because there's a lot of flaws with the Black Swordsman arc, that being one of them, where it's like you see a cool new character. Oh, they're dead. Well, fuck. You don't really get time to talk to these characters and learn these characters. It's more so like, oh, this monster of the week, here you go.
That's fair. I think part of it is that I'm reading this at a more mature age. So the concept of letting things go is a little more familiar to me. Meanwhile, I felt if I read this when I was younger, I would have been more attached to the characters a lot more quickly. Or maybe. Yeah. I don't know. That's a guess.
I could see that. And that what you're actually saying right now is one of the biggest criticisms about the Black Swordsman arc. And that was something that Mira actually took to heart, because when he was switching publishers, he asked for like, hey, what's something I could work on? And that was one of the criticisms he got, which, as you can see, influenced the whole Golden Age because all the main characters actually stay as main characters.
Okay.
You have Guts, you have Casca, you have Griffith, you have Pippin, you have the whole Band of the Hawk, and they form like this family rather than, oh, here's this character, cool, he's going to die at the end of the chapter.
Okay, cool. All right. To focus on the thing in particular that I want to talk about here. You know what? There's a lot I'm actually going to be skipping over this very first note, and that's because there's not really much to talk about for me personally with the old man and the slug fight itself. I mean, it's cool, really, like visually, but in my opinion, the most interesting thing that happens in between these pages is Theresia and her backstory.
Yeah, when she comes walking through the door and is like, oh, what the fuck is that? And of course, the Count immediately goes, oh, my daughter. And she's like, fucking dad? Like, oh shit, my father's a demon?
Yeah, like it's really cool because like it's as you said, Guts cared about that little girl in the carriage, and you also get the little glimpse of him caring with the old man that got executed, the second execution that happened, where he kind of respected the balls of this dude.
Yeah, where he was trying. Yeah, he couldn't do much, but at least he was trying. So he's like, I give you respect. And also going to that execution scene when the old man was about to be executed, like Puck was like, oh, we gotta go save him. And Guts like, I can't. They literally have traps everywhere. If I walked in there, I'm going to be swarmed with soldiers. We just have to let him die.
Yeah.
Which even he understood that, like Vargas, because he was just like, Black Swordsman, if you hear me, like, make his life hell, yada, 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 cast him down, kill him for me. So he knew, like, yeah, this is a trap. They're trying to draw Guts out. I don't want Guts to get trapped. I'm just going to accept the fact that this is where I'm going to die, but I'm going to, like, give him my blessing before I die.
Yeah. And it's cool because this is the very first times where you see Guts not being super edgy anymore, right? He actually, he's been a little bit soft with Puck here and there, but this is the most he's been kind to, like, a stranger. Yeah. I guess he had actual conversations. Kind of kind.
He was still a little bit of a dick to him, but
this is the most respect he's shown.
Yeah, so far this has been the most respect he's shown to someone. Which is funny because it's literally just him being like, yeah, I agree to kill the Count for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's his own little edgy way of being like, well, I'm not really helping you. Guts is being a little tsundere is all.
Yeah. I still feel bad for the scene when he kicks the old man down.
Yeah.
Like, that was uncalled for, Guts. You didn't need to do that.
Yeah. I'm like, come on, man. He's already taken enough L's as it is.
Yeah.
But it's fine. They're establishing the character. I get it. And and honestly, even like the scene after that, you kind of shrug it off, being like, whatever, this doesn't matter.
Yeah, the old man's like, yeah, it's fine. It's whatever. And I do understand, like, when Guts starts choking him out because he's like, you have a Beylet. What the fuck do you have this for? Is this yours? He's like, no, it's the Count's. Like, oh, okay.
I didn't understand that until later. And now I know what that artifact means.
Yeah. Which I'm sure a lot of people are like that, at least in your case, because you don't know what that artifact means. So when you first read it, you're like, why is Guts so mean about it? like, why does he want it? Why is he so mean to this old man for it? Like, what's going on? Once you know what it is, like, oh yeah, that thing's like extremely fucking dangerous. No one should have one.
Yeah.
You have to be really careful if you see one.
Yeah. So I have another little point here, and this is pretty much a really, really, really big point. And this is this there's one panel with Theresia. And we can honestly this can just be the Theresia section, really.
Mm-hmm.
It's Theresia saying, I want to see what's outside my room. And my very first quote that I was thinking is like, man, I don't think you want to know what's outside your room.
Yeah.
But as I kind of kept thinking about this quote, I kind of wondered if this is alluding to kind of the themes of being stuck in your bubble and not wanting to see kind of past that. I may be looking a little bit too much into that, but I guess I'm just thinking about the quote a little bit in the broader sense of the characterization of the Guts, the Lord, maybe the grand world of Berserk as a whole. I'm not really quite aware of that, but everything kind of seems stuck in its way and not wanting to see the outside of it. I don't know.
So, God, this is where not just Guts, but Berserk gets really good because like there's so many philosophical stuff in there. You're right about her wanting to be like break out and go see something new because cycles are a huge thing in Berserk. Like the whole idea of like there's fate and that's it. You're stuck in your destiny, you're stuck in your fate, you can't break out. This is the way the world is. It's a dog eat dog world. The rule or the strong rule the weak. That's just what it is. Deal with it. Whereas Guts is that one guy who's like, no, fuck you. And so that's why he's nicknamed the Struggler, because he's constantly pushing back against fate. Because, again, with the brand, he should have been dead years ago. Like, this was a dude that when the sacrifice happened, he should have been dead. But he pushed back. He was like, no, I'm not going down without a fight. And so there's a lot of themes in Berserk that it is about like pushing back against your fate, pushing back against destiny, going your own way, doing your own thing, try and become your own person.
Yeah. Although you're not quite getting that just yet in volume 2 or 3. You're just getting you're getting a few allusions here and there.
Yeah, you're just getting a few allusions, like with her being like, I want to see what's outside my walls. I want to go outside and see the real world for once.
Yeah, and her backstory is crazy with her mom. Because, like, man, dude, the Lord is fucked. The Lord is fucked.
Oh, yeah. But it's understandable his crash out on his wife because, he goes off on campaign, comes home and finds out his wife's not only cheating on him, but is also involved in some demonic cult thing. It is fucking a demon statue. And he's like, what the fuck?
So apparently she got addicted into the cult because... So I was actually rereading one of the pages and I'm wondering, is this something that the Lord made up or is this something that actually happened? Which is the wife... okay, so the kingdom was getting threatened with converting into paganism, I think is the way I read the panel. And the only way to protect their kingdom is to convert. So what the wife did was kind of take the initiative and do whatever they say in order to kind of protect their kingdom from, I assume, Christians or a parallel to Christians in the Berserk universe.
It would be a parallel to Christians. No one's actually a Christian in Berserk.
Yeah, so it seems the wife.
But it is very like parallel. Like, for instance, they call it the Holy See, which those of you who are Christians know. Like, the Holy See is Vatican City. Okay. But they don't call it like Christianity. They don't use crosses or anything like that. It's just, oh yeah, we follow the Holy See.
I see. Okay. So it seems the wife did what she did to prevent those people from, I don't know, I guess maybe it was the paganists or maybe that were threatening them. It was to prevent them from attacking. So she kind of got indicted and I guess was trying to show her devotion to protect, I'm assuming, Theresia as well?
Perhaps. I was thinking that she was just always part of the cult.
That's another side to it that crossed my mind. And I'm wondering, And again, I'm wondering, it kind of goes of, do we take the word of what Darisha is saying, of what her second hand knowledge is, or is the Lord right? Did the Lord just see exactly what was happening?
I would go off of like what the Lord says, because that's where you have the God hand being like, "Hey, look at this flashback. This is how it happened." And like, of course, you have the count being like, "No, please don't show my daughter this. This is really fucked up." And the daughter's like,
Yeah.
"Oh wow, my mom's fucking a demon." Okay.
Well, you see the conclusion of that, not the lead up. To be fair, in her defense, if I'm playing lawyer, but um, yeah, I don't know. I think that's a little ambiguous. Not that it matters too much because she's such a minor character. But
I'm hoping she comes back at some point. I really want her to
I'm
come
referring
back.
to the mom, by the way. But Tharisha, yeah,
I thought
do
you were
hope-
talking about.
yeah.
Yeah, I would love for Tharisha to come back because I don't think she ever will. But if she does come back, she'll be like, I don't know, probably like late teens by this point or something like that.
I'm not really sure how.
But
far
she
it
did
stands.
say like she wants to get her revenge on Guts, and it'll be cool to see her come back and see how that showdown goes, or not necessarily
Yeah.
showdown, but that interaction.
I'm gonna get to that interaction really soon. Sorry, I'm kind of dragging you along. I know you want to get to your favorite part, but I want to make sure like
Oh,
we
no
kind of cover
worries.
everything because
No,
that part is so
I'm
good.
fine with you doing this because otherwise I would be jumping all over the place. So
Okay.
no, we go at your pace.
I understand. And yeah, the orgy scene happened. Man, that was quite a. You flip the page, it's like, oh wow, that is not what I was expecting to see. And to be
Oh,
fair,
yeah.
that is such a perfect way to use the medium you're in, which is manga. Of I am flipping the page, I can't believe it. The Lord opened the door, and he can't believe it.
Yep, it's literally a jump scare in a sense where you're like, whoa, okay, that's a fucking whiplash.
Holy shit! I wasn't ready for it.
We're like, wow, there's a lot of sex in this scene. Okay.
That's what like. It's kind of alluding to my first point I was making. It's like, wow, there's a lot more sexual content here than I thought.
Oh yeah, there is. But like I said, it does tone down quite a bit later on.
Yeah. Okay, so then the story goes. Well, yeah. Well, I guess we can talk about the Slug Man. He gets killed. There's a couple sacrifices and smart plays with Guts along the way, and a little bit dirty, whatever. But it's kind of crazy to see the very first scene of what it means for Guts to keep going, to the point where he's willing to hold up his sword with just his teeth alone.
Yeah, where he's still willing to fight, even though his arm and fingers are all fucked up and he's got all kinds of broken bones. He's still willing to keep fighting.
And he managed to slip out a win because of it.
Yep.
And as you kind of alluded to a little bit, that is the character of Guts. He should be dead, but he just keeps going and nabs survival
He
every single
keeps
time.
trying. He is the struggler. No matter what, he keeps trying. Like Guts is the embodiment of like the indomitable human spirit, where he's like, no matter what, he's going to keep trying.
He puts in 101%, and he only survived because he put in that 1 extra percent.
Yep,
That's fucking awesome.
for sure.
But
He always tries.
exactly.
Which again is like, me. I have a sweet spot for characters like that. I love characters that just
I do
never
as well,
give
yeah.
up.
They're cool characters. Like, I mean, what can I say?
They are.
But there's a small point that I have here. I think the God Hand location is pretty cool, just because it's such a contrast to what we've seen before, and it's cool that the demon lair isn't just hell, but it's just kind of weird, surreal staircase place you see in a painting. I think that's really cool.
It's also a really cool one because, like, and you will notice this. Mira pulled a lot of inspiration from not just manga artists, but artists across the board. Which, as you could see with the surrealist thing, I don't quite remember the artist that did that painting of all the like weird staircases, but like that's straight up just a reference to him.
Oh, really?
Where he's just like, yeah, where he's like, hey, there's this like I think he was a 16th century artist or whatever that did literally an image of all these weird upside down staircases that lead to nowhere, and it's all fucking weird and crazy. And we were like, I like that painting. I'm just gonna throw this painting into my fucking manga.
I mean, to be fair, I think many manga authors have looked at something and it's like, I'm gonna add it to my manga.
Oh yeah, I think that's something just artists in general across the board do.
Just put in the shit
like,
you like. Hell yeah.
For whether it's like regular art, manga, comic books, video games, movies, it's something that looks cool and they like it, so they're just gonna throw it in because why not? It looks cool.
Yeah. So in this scene, you of course get introduced to the God Hand and Griffith, which I only know 10% of, but I think I know the most important 10%. I'll wait until I see how far I get context for Griffith's character. But the one thing I want to comment on the God Hand in particular that I really love as far as a storytelling aspect is they tell the Lord about what it means to be a God Hand. And it's you have to give up someone and complete someone you love in order to lose your humanity entirely, to kind of tether you away from humanity. Yep. And that builds up intrigue because you look at all these five and you look at, well, what did they do?
Yep. They're the most powerful ones. So what did they give up?
And they never tell you in this volume, which is great. I love that.
They never tell you on any volume. It's never mention of what they sacrificed, other than Griffith.
Yeah, you know one. You know one eventually.
Yeah, you know one. But the others, it's only ever hinted at what they may have done, but it's never like set in stone or in concrete of like what it was that those guys sacrificed. But it's just as bad as what fucking Griffith did.
Mm-hmm. I don't mind finding out till the very end of Berserk if there ever is one. But
I don't want to mind like not knowing at all, honestly, because part of the God Hand or the charm of the God Hand is the mystery behind them of like, what the fuck did these guys do? Like, holy shit. Especially Void, where Void is the one with the brain for a head.
Yeah, he seems like the scummiest of them all.
He is the leader of the God Hand of the group, and he's all lore wise. He's the one that's been there the longest.
Okay.
And so that's already an idea of like, what the fuck did he sacrifice then to be like the leader of the God Hand? Because we know Griffith sacrificed something. It was fucking horrendous. What did he sacrifice?
Damn. At this point, as a reader in Volume 1, again, I don't mind. I definitely don't want to find out early, right? This should be something that's either saved up till the very end, where all the you can have a couple of answers here and there, or as you said, never knowing at all, which I'm completely satisfied with either or. Just don't put something in the fucking middle or something. That'd be kind of stupid. But anyways, I don't want to comment too much on the God Hand because I know you know way more than I do. So let's let's do that.
The God Hand.
Cool, I thought the Hell Centipede was really fucking cool.
Oh, the body's coming from hell to go grab the count and pull him in.
That was way cooler and metal. Way super metal than I thought that it was.
My favorite part about it is that it's all the people that he's killed.
Yes.
Or it's the people that he sent to hell coming to get their revenge. And that's so fitting.
It's so fucking metal, dude. I am all about it.
It's so cool. Which is also really funny because if I was a member of the God Hand, I'd be fucking terrified because I'm like, oh shit, all the people I sacrifice are going to do that to me too.
Oh boy. Well, there's more incentive to never die, huh?
Yeah, there's more incentive to not fucking die then, I guess.
And of course, they also alluded to like Guts is going to hell no matter what.
Mm-hmm. That because he has that brand, he is bound for hell.
Yeah, which kind of sucks.
Which again goes.
He saw it terrify Guts himself as well when he saw a glimpse of it.
For sure, but I also like that he fought back when they came to come grab him. And again, it goes with the whole idea like he's the struggler. He's struggling against his fate. He's destined to burn in hell, and he's like, no, fuck you. I'm not following this.
Dude, like him walking up to the stairs with a broken body to fight Griffith, who's a God Hand. And being like, I'm still gonna fucking do it because I'm just so pissed. Damn, dude. That summarized the length risks that Guts' emotions are willing to pull him through.
He's like, I am even though I'm in this broken, rundown body right now, I'm still going to try and throw hands with a demigod.
It's really fucking sick. But yeah, that's kind of all I can say about the God Hand without me kind of tempting Kai to spoil something for me. I'm just messing. But I guess here now we can kind of... the last big point that I have here is the last scene with Theracia. Or Theresa, whatever. Theracia.
However you say your name. It's one of my favorite scenes.
Yeah, which is... the Lord was contemplating on sacrificing her. And he was too stun-locked to think about it that he just ended up passing away. And that's how he got dragged into hell. In the meantime, Theracia's getting traumatized from getting outside of her room.
She's like, I just want to go back to my room. Fuck this.
And it was there was a moment where, of course, you talked about how much you like the scene of she wants to die, and she tosses the knife, or like I think she does something. He does
gets her
something
the
like
knife.
Yeah,
where she's like, because she's like, I don't want to live in this world anymore. This is horrible. Like, I just want to die. And guys is straight up like, all right, do it. Fucking kill yourself.
Yeah, to me this is kind of on. To me, I wasn't too shocked about this scene because this is very on par with what Guts has done already and what he said. I'm just like, yeah, that checks out.
It's also one of those things where, I get it's different for me because I've seen the anime, I've read the mangas before. Guts has had those thoughts before, where he's just like, I don't want to live in this world anymore. I should just die. I should just fucking kill myself. But then he's like, no, I'm just going to keep struggling. I'm going to keep fighting. But I fully understand why some people want to commit suicide.
Okay.
Like, he's completely, like, so when a character's like, hey, I want to die, he's like, okay. Like, I'm not going to stop you. I fully understand why you want to do it. Our world fucking sucks.
In the contrast to Puck, who's like saying, don't do it.
Yeah, which don't do it. There's still hope.
It highlights Guts so well in that regard. It helps contrast.
It does.
That's why I can't hate Puck. But it's not that scene
but
that I
love. I was gonna say the scene that I love the most is when the cliff underneath her caves in, and the light in her eyes come back, and she's like, "No, I want to live," and he sticks out his sword to catch her.
Yes, that's the scene I was gonna talk about. Is that scene is kind of showing that she was bluffing a little bit. Because
where like
I don't want to get too personal with the story, but I remember there was someone that I knew that was in this mental state of wanting to take their own life, and they were close. Something happened. Again, I don't want to get too far into detail, and one of the things they told me was the minute it was in the process of happening, every single neuron was telling them, don't fucking do this. And that was something that I feel was so well portrayed with how it went down with Theracia.
And Guts picked up on it right away because he could have just let her fall. That's like, he's like, nope, she wants to live. I'm going to save her.
And they did it in a really rough way. Damn, dude.
I mean,
with
to be fair, how are you supposed to fucking do that? How are you supposed to fucking save someone when they're falling like that?
It sucks.
He just stuck out
as
whatever
kid,
he had. It just so happened to be his sword. So he's like, well, all right, sure, it's going to cut her fingers, but at least she lives.
Fuck, dude. As a kid, she must be like, she doesn't understand the full context of it. So, of course, she's going to hate Guts after what happened with the Lord and everything in her town.
In her mind, she doesn't comprehend the idea, like, this was already a problem to begin with, going back to her parents and the whole demon ritual shit. She just is like, this happened because the Black Swordsman showed up. If it wasn't for him, none of this would have happened. Fuck him.
Yeah.
Which does kind of like you see it eats at Guts, where he's like he uses it as fuel to fuel the fire underneath her because she's like, I will have my revenge, and she's like, yeah, you'll get your revenge. I look forward to it. You have something to live for now. Go and live for that.
Yeah, I guess in that regard,
I feel bad that I just
kind of in line.
Yeah, for Guts, it works. But then he kind of feels bad for it. He's like, man, she's gonna be in this cycle of revenge and hate that I'm stuck in, and it fucking sucks, man.
So I want to build up a little bit to that scene because this is actually my favorite scene in the all three volumes that I read, where Darisha says, "I fucking hate you. I'm gonna kill you," and in very Guts fashion, he walks away with a smirk on his face, saying, "Yeah, go ahead and fucking try. Then I'll be waiting."
He's like, I'll be waiting,
and I'll be,
which
and Puck's also talking him down and being like, "Yeah, this is kind of what I expect." But more than the orgy scene, the panel that caught me the most off guard is I flipped to the last page and it's Guts crying. I could not fucking believe what I just saw. Holy fucking shit.
Love that scene. It is my favorite. I agree with you. It is my favorite scene of the Black Swordsman arc because it shows like Guts isn't just this edgy guy. Like he does feel bad. He doesn't want to do this, but he also wants his revenge. So that's why he's doing this. So the fact that he set this kid up, like not only did he drag this kid into the world of like demons and monsters and whatnot, and made her realize like how horrible the world is, but now she hates him and she wants to hunt him down, and now she's stuck in this endless cycle of revenge and hate. Which again, Berserk is all about cycles, and one of the cycles is to show like revenge fucks with the person who wants revenge more than it does with the actual person or the other guy, or like. Guts is going through basically a blood craze on this revenge field thing. Meanwhile, Femtail's just chilling. He doesn't really give a shit. He's like, oh, I'm just doing my own thing. I don't really care. Like, whatever. Meanwhile, Guts is putting himself through hell trying to get revenge.
Yes.
And he fucking hates it. It sucks. It's eating away at him.
So, this is one of these scenes where there's a similar scene in Attack on Titan that I won't get into because it's not relevant, but it's one of these scenes that I love where you go through the entire show and you have an idea built in your head, and then you look at this one scene and then you realize you knew more than you thought. Everything that you saw before gets recontextualized, because if you didn't have this scene, you would have assumed Guts as just another edgy guy that maybe has some soft moments here and there, but that's what he is for the most part. When he starts crying,
tough, dude.
You can start double thinking, what is he crying about? And what that meant, how much of his personality does he actually mask? So you can go back to the previous volumes and find maybe that those cracks that he showed before were a little deeper than you thought.
Exactly. Like with back on the carriage scene and his hesitation with killing the kid. He's like, no, he does legitimately care for children. He doesn't want to harm them. It's just he's put in the situations where he has to do it, and he fucking hates doing it. It eats at him.
Yeah, that scene was solid. It was such a nice cap on the Black Swordsman arc in my eyes.
It does.
Perfect way to end it. And
I want to I want to talk about the beginning of the Golden Age arc when Guts is still a boy, because a lot of what you see him go through as a child also recontextualizes all those moments with those kids, because it's not just Guts having a soft spot for kids, it's Guts being like, I relate to these kids. I get it. I understand having a shitty childhood. Like, my childhood was horrible. I understand what it's like for these kids, and I don't want them to go through hell like I did.
Yeah. So this is a little minor criticism. It's honestly, it's kind of a nothing burger, but if you read Berserk the way I did, which is I cut off and wait, and we're doing a podcast in the middle of the deluxe volumes. The deluxe volume kind of ends on a, not even a cliffhanger, but in the middle of a giving you backstory, context for a backstory, and it really only gives you like a little taste, and then it just completely cuts off.
Yeah, because I know in the Telkamon volumes, the last chapter of volume 3 is Guts being picked up by the mercenary band, where like it's him as a baby and how he gets picked up by Gambino's band, and how they're like, it's a fucking baby. I guess we'll take care of it.
Yeah, you get someone going into his tent, and that's the very last scene. And there's not as far as this podcast and the nature of it goes, I don't really want to talk about it too much because I feel anything I'm going to talk about here is going to get more linked up with what I'm going to be saying in the next podcast about Berserk Volume 2. So I'm going to hold off a little bit.
One another.
The only thing I will say is the only conclusion you get in this Volume 3 is what happens with Sis, because her arc is, or her character is only like 3 panels, right?
Yeah.
She picks up Guts, and 3 years later she dies of a disease. I don't know what it is.
The plague, if I remember right.
The plague, yes.
Like the Black Plague or something got her.
Yeah.
And it's him holding her hand, which I think is so sweet, where it's like he was there for his mother when her husband wasn't.
Husband, quotation marks, but...
Yeah, quotations. Yeah. Boyfriend, whatever the fuck he was.
The very first couple of pages really sets up what kind of Guts' life was destined to be. He came outside of a corpse, and, he had no shot.
Yeah. Again, he's the struggler. He should have died there under that tree that day as a baby. He should have died, but for whatever reason, that woman was like, I'm going to save him. And she did. And
there was a reason.
Then he's been... Oh, that's true. She lost her child, and so she's using him as, a surrogate child.
Yeah, she had a miscarriage, to be more specific.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where the only reason he was able to defy fate... I don't know how emphasized is this later. Maybe I'm proven wrong, but it seems the only way he defied fate to... the reason he was able to get out of a really bad situation is because someone lent a hand. And it wasn't something huge, right? It didn't do everything for him, but it was just that little extra push to get him out of a really bad situation. This happened a little bit with the Black Swordsman arc, because even Puck clutched him out and healing him just enough.
So he could load up his cannon arm.
Yeah.
He just needs just enough help.
Exactly. And I think that's what I really like.
This is something where, again... a lot of philosophical undertones to Berserk and whatnot, where it shows Guts is that hardcore lone wolf. I try to do everything by myself, but it shows that he is at his strongest when he has others there to help him. When he has Puck to heal him, when he has that woman to pick him up and nurse him, or later on in the Golden Age when he has the Band of the Hawk to patch him up every time he gets hurt, or to go and help him anytime he needs help. You learn, Guts learns to oh, I don't have to fight this world by myself. I could have friends to come help me. Yeah. And by having these friends, I become all the stronger. Which I think is a fantastic fucking message for people, where it's have friends, be with those that you care about. People are there to help you. People who legitimately care for and love you will always have your back.
And that's why I really love the Berserk and Guts' characterization, because if you didn't have that message, the context would be Guts is right to be edgy. But because we have this, we're shown that no, Guts is a flawed character, and you, the reader, should expect character development in the future. That's to me, that's an amazing
time opening up to people, but when he does, it's fantastic.
Amazing fucking setup.
I know I'm kind of skipping ahead a little bit, but later on there's a scene between Guts and Casca under a tree. I know everyone knows the scene. That is my all-time favorite scene.
All right, we'll get to that scene eventually. I bet
we will get to it eventually, but it is one of my all-time favorite fucking scenes.
But yeah, beyond that, I get introduced to Gambino and other characters, but I'm gonna hold off on them till later. Just because I know they still have more left to go as far as narrative goes.
I was just, like I was saying, it's just with the beginning of the Golden Age, and you see how Guts' childhood, it does go back to how he treats kids. We're oh, he relates to him because he had a shit childhood, so of course he wants the kids to have a better childhood than he does.
Yeah, and I'll get more into depth with that in Volume 2. Because I do have thoughts about that myself.
For sure.
All right. That was the little podcast for Deluxe Volume 1 of Berserk, or Volume 1 through 3 if you're reading it normally.
Reading the Tokobans, which is... Give me 1 second.
Man, we're about an hour into recording, too. A little more than that.
Sorry, I had to grab chapter. I had to grab my Volume 3. Essentially, all the way up to chapter 6.
Okay.
So, like, or the Guardians of Desire, chapter 6. I don't know what, like, the full chapter number is for the full series, what that would be.
Yeah. The very first chapter of the Golden Age arc is where it ends. That's all you need to know.
Yep. That's where we left off at.
Okay, so yeah, if this podcast got interested you in reading Berserk along with us, I say give it a go. Admittedly, they cost a little bit of money, but as far as what the deluxe volumes are offering, I think it's completely worth what they're currently selling at. I don't know what it's like in the country that you, the listener, I don't know what the prices are there, but hopefully this podcast at least sold you in checking it out a little bit here and there.
I would just say just read Berserk. Doesn't matter which form. You could do digital, you could do Tokuban, you could do the deluxe edition. Excuse me, you could do the deluxe edition. Just read it. Like, the manga is by far the best way to experience Berserk.
Some would say it's the only way.
Some would say it's the only way. However, I do have a soft spot for the 90s anime. I think the 90s anime is really good. Just be warned, these are adult books. There is a lot of blood. There's a lot of gore. There's a lot of killing. There's a lot of sex. Like, you will just see full frontal nudity, and you're just like, oh, that's a penis.
Don't read this with your parents unless it's Kai's parents.
Oh yeah, my fucking parents probably like Berserk. I know my dad would. My dad would fucking love this series.
Well, there we go. Maybe he should watch this podcast. No, I'm kidding. He's got better things to do. So, thanks everyone for joining us for this Volume 1 discussion, or Deluxe Volume 1 of Berserk, and we'll be seeing you in the next one. Thank you, Kai, for joining me once again.
No problem. I'm excited for the next one. We just start talking about the beginning of the Golden Age.
All right. Looking forward to seeing you guys next time. And with good night, and everyone, do well. Do well in life.
Bye.
Bye-bye.